makers, and welcome to the final video in this series. Now, in this video, I don't want to drop any knowledge bombs. I'm not going to do any learning. All I would like you to do is to be introduced to some artifacts that reference everything that we've done so far. Let's take a look at these things. This artifact is called the Stay Oot. Here, we've got Colin, the offensive sock. And finally, we've got the magical musical mitt. Now makers, in this video, all I'm going to do is show you some of the projects that we've made. We don't want you to follow them, we want you to make your own stuff. But I'm going to show you how we made them to provide some inspiration. So without further ado, let's have a look at the Stay Oot. To make the Stay Oot, you're going to need some cardboard, some aluminum foil, some PVA craft glue, maybe some sticky tape, and some jumper wires that are daisy chained together. Now the Stay Oot is all about creating these things, pressure pads. Okay, and to create a pressure pad, we're going to put the cardboard and the tin foil together in layers. So makers, here we've got some bits of card that we've cut out. This piece is going to go on the top, this piece is going to go on the bottom, and this piece is going to go in the middle. You'll notice we've cut out an insert. Now these two pieces need to be covered in foil. This one doesn't. So now I've got two pieces of card covered in tin foil that will conduct. And all we're going to do is we're going to glue them together like this. Now that we've got our pressure pad, it's actually a switch. And all we're going to do is wire it into the same circuit we created in our last video. Let's take a look. So makers, just as we've done in previous videos, we're going to replace this switch with this switch. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this switch out of our circuit and we're going to replace it with some wires. Now all I've done here is I've daisy chained two male to female wires together with a male to male jumper wire, and I'm going to put that into there. And then I'm going to take this end and I'm going to sellotape it to the top of my pressure pad. Yeah, then I'm going to turn the pressure pad over because actually I want to put another one on this side. So the exact same thing, I've got two male to female jumper wires and a male to male jumper wire. We've now made contact with the metal and I'm going to put this in the board where the other leg of my switch was. And now, should anything press down on the pressure pad, we get a circuit back to our Raspberry Pi. Okay makers, here I've got the setup from last session and I've got my Stay Oot pressure pad down here. Now check out what happens when it has some pressure applied to it. That's probably the worst intruder alert ever. So what we need to do is to change the audio file. Now you can create an MP3 however you like. You can use Audacity on a computer or you can record into a mobile phone or whatever. All you need to do is get that MP3 onto your Raspberry Pi and you can create a custom alert. And I'm going to show you now how to get that into Scratch. Okay guys, I've got my intruder alert MP3 on this memory stick and all I'm going to do is plug it into the Pi so that I can use it. Boom! Okay makers, when I insert my USB stick into my Raspberry Pi, I get a menu that tells me that I've inserted a USB stick. So I'm going to press OK on there and inside of my USB stick I can see an MP3 file. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my intruder MP3 file and just drag it onto the desktop. Now when I've done that, you can see that the intruder MP3 is on the desktop. Now in my program here, I've got the same program that I built last time, and when I press the button, it makes the cat meow. But the problem is that we don't want it to play the meow sound, we want it to play intruder MP3. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to sounds and we're going to import a sound into Scratch. Now remembering that we put the file on the desktop and then we've got intruder. That's the sound we want, so I'm going to press OK. And now, when I go back into my scripts, I can drop down and put intruder on. So when I run my code now and someone enters the room, it'll go That's what we're after. Now the system we've looked at has only got one pressure pad, but you can create as many as you like and attach them to different GPIO pins. Remember, it's just an influence. We're giving you ideas so that you can make your own stuff. Okay, so that one was intruder alert or stay out.
Stay out, intruder.
What the heck's that?
Stay out, intruder. Stay out, intruder.
Oh my gosh, makers. It's Colin the offensive sock. He's a right muppet. Let's figure out how to make him. To make Colin the offensive sock, you will need some card, some aluminum foil, some PVA glue, a sock and other craft supplies, and some daisy-chained jumper wires. Let's see how we put them together. Now makers, we call these things artifacts because they're arty and they prove the fact that you understand the computer science. So let's do the arty bit and look at how the heck we made Colin. So you've probably figured out that Colin's a sock puppet. Okay, so we've got a sock and then we've attached various things just to make him look cool. So we've got a button for his nose, some googly eyes, we've got some pipe cleaners, we've got a pom-pom, and we've got some feathers. But your offensive sock can look however the heck you want. Now Colin, you are actually just a sock. But in order to make him talk, we're going to have to create a switch for his mouth. So makers, to create the mouth, we're going to do two shapes out of the card, cover it in the tin foil to get two pieces like that. That's our switch, and all we're going to do is we're going to daisy chain our jumper wires up to the mouth. So there's one side secured down and the other side as well. And now when these two bits of metal touch together, it will create the circuit. Except we don't want it to say stay out. Now that Colin's got a mouth, we can make him do stuff. Let's look at how he does it. Okay makers, this code looks a bit more complex, and it is because it's got a bit more stuff in, but you should be able to understand it with a bit of explanation. So what we're doing right here at the top is we're creating something called a variable. And a variable is something that can change during a program. So we set the say variable to 0. These two lines of broadcast GPIO server on and config 21 in, we've already used. We've used forever tiles quite a bit, and now we've got an if statement that says 21 sensor value equals 1. So if the switch is touched, set say to a random number between 1 and 4. Now, our Colin has got 4 different audio files. That's the reason why the variable is going to be chosen between 1 and 4. And if the number that's chosen by the computer is equal to 1, it'll play the burp. And if it's 2, it'll laugh. And if it's 3, he'll blow a raspberry. And if it's 4, he'll play a whistle. And he does that over and over and over again. And that's how we get the randomized sounds on Colin the offensive sock. Wahey! Now Colin uses a single switch. But what about putting multiple switches in? We get a power glove! Let's check out the glove in action. Each finger is connected to a different GPIO pin, and this pad is connected to the live. Now, you can find the schematic online, but I'm just going to run you through on the breadboard where all the connections are. Okay, so here we've got our 5 volts, so we've got 5 volts running into here, and this wire is going to our pad. So that's the live. Okay, we can see that this finger here has got a green wire connected to it, and the green wire is actually the other end of the switch, and that is connected to GPIO 21 and the ground. So this is the exact same circuit that we built in our previous sessions. The orange wire is connected to here, which in turn is connected to GPIO 20. The blue wire is connected to GPIO 19, and the brown is connected to GPIO 18. So 4 switches, 4 different GPIO pins. Let's have a look at the code. So we can clearly see in the code here, makers, that we've got 4 inputs configured. We've got 21, 20, 19 and 18. And remembering that these were the pins that we spoke about that were connected to the fingers on our glove. Now we're using if-else statements again. We've got lots of different branches in this program because we want 4 different outputs. So if GPIO 21 is triggered, that's our first finger, it'll play note 60, which is a C. And if the second finger is triggered, it'll play a D. And if the third finger is triggered, it's an E. And if the fourth finger triggers, it's an F. It doesn't have to be those notes, guys. We could trigger drum beats or any sound that we like. All we're showing you is how we can put multiple switches into a program. Well, makers, that was our final video in our starter kit series, and in it we looked at 3 artifacts to help you and give you some inspiration for your own mix, because remember, the whole point about this whole thing is for you guys to make your own inventions. Okay, now if you've done something that you're particularly proud of, it would be great to show us. So get a grown-up to post it to Twitter and hit us up at @MakeStuffNE. We hope that you've enjoyed the experience, and until the next time you head to the shed, get out there and make stuff.